Shalom, shalom. I want to give all praises to the Most High Power, Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, Brakade Yahweh, Brakade Yahweh Shai, Babu Kisha, Babu Kisha, Babu Kisha, Abanawa Shaba, Shabayam, Hawa Shanawa Mayan Raila Iwalam Yam. I want to give double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone, peace and salutation to all the Akim that's doing this work in sincerity and humiliation all across the four winds. In wholeheartedness to you, I salute. This is the brother Yasha Wamba from the GMS Bahamas Camp Park at you with this truth. Now, I wanted to go into a lesson today, right, about dealing with the corrupt minds of others, right, and how people tend to, dwell on empty and trifling topics, things that have no meaning, you know. Also, know how not to give your attention on worldly things, how not to be excessive in, your love of money, your love of women, your lust and all that. You see? Because if you give into those things, those fleshly things, you start to neglect your spirit. And if you neglect your spirit, well, we all know what happens when you do that. You see? But let's just get into it, right? This is the book of 1 Timothy chapter 6, starting at verse 3. It reads, "If any man teach otherwise, and consent not to wholesome words, even the words of our Lord Yahweh Shai Mashiach, and to the doctrine which is according to godliness," meaning if a man teaches another doctrine, and knowingly discredits the words of Yahweh Shai Mashiach, well, he's a fool, basically. Verse 4 breaks that down. It reads, "He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, and evil surmisings." God, the Bible says that man is proud, who teaches a different doctrine contrary to the doctrine of Yahweh Shai and Mashiach. You see, he's a fool. He's a doter. And the Webster's Dictionary of the word doting means it's a mental decline. He ain't right yet, you see? Or to be lavish or excessive in one's attention, meaning their attention is somewhere else. Their attention is on what their earthly belief, you see? Their attention is not on Yahweh Shai and Mashiach. It says, "He is proud, knowing nothing, but doting about questions and strifes of words." When it says doting of questions and strifes of words, meaning they tend to dwell on empty topics, on empty trifling things would have no value. You see, it's not food for the soul. They dwell on earthly matters, way. You see? And where it says, "Whereof cometh envy, strife, railings, and evil surmisings." Surmisings definition is a thought or idea based on scanty evidence. And evil surmising is, they come up with these different ideologies or different thoughts and their evil thoughts in their mind, what they barely have no understanding about. And they dwell on, they try to push that to you. You see? And if you don't have understanding, you would fall right into that snare, getting into that back and forth and debating with them, and that wouldn't make you no better than them. You see? Well, and railings, when they say railings mean to slander. So if you run on with them, yeah, and you understand the truth, but you still decide to run on with them, your name is get slandered into it. And if how they have no understanding, they pull you right down with them. You see? Let's read on to verse 5. It reads, "Perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds." Gone. What I was explaining a little earlier. "And destitute of the truth, supposing that gain." And destitute of the truth, meaning the truth is not in them. They have no understanding of the truth. So a person without understanding of the truth, when you try to explain it to them, regardless how many precepts you bring to them, they ain't gonna get it. Because they destitute of the truth. You see? And see who men who void of the truth, who think that their mindset is godly. You see? But verse 5 again, perverse disputings of men of corrupt minds and destitute of the truth, supposing that gain is godliness, meaning they supposing the riches that they get or the earthly things that they get is godliness. That's what they thinking in their head. You see, because they have a corrupt mind. It says, from such withdraw thyself, meaning keep no company with them. Withdraw yourself from them. Because if you stay around that long enough, that can slowly start to seep into you. You see? The Most High says to withdraw yourself from them. Now, let's jump down. Let's read verse 6. It says, but godliness with contentment is great gain. What that means is, when you poor, you be content. When you rich, you be content. Regardless of what it is that you have, you be content with it. You see? Because the Most High knows why he give you what he give you. You see? Because, for instance, a poor man who suddenly become rich, right? The Most High give him, let's say the Most High give him riches. But then he slowly started to stray away from his teachings. Slowly started to stray away from the truth. That means you had a corrupt mind from the start. You, like the brother Awa said, you have no discipline. You see? You lack standards. You see? But it says in verse 8, but godliness with contentment is great gain. You have to be content in everything what you do. If a poor man suddenly become rich, he have to set a standard as to he's still content with, what he have. You see? And not neglect the truth, not neglect his teachings. So now it reads in verse 7, for we brought nothing into this world, and it's certain we can carry nothing out. You born with nothing, you leave with nothing, boy. So when you born in this earthly world with nothing, this fleshly world with nothing, you leave this fleshly world with nothing. And if you don't put something in your spirit, man. Anyway, verse 8, and having food and raiment, let us be therewith content. Verse 9, but they that will be rich fall into temptation, what I was explaining earlier, and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lust, which drown men in destruction and perdition. See, but they that will be rich fall into temptation, meaning you fall into temptation, man. You start to stray away from the truth, and a snare. And once you done stray away and you get catched in that snare, it's hard for you to get back in. Some men don't ever recover from that. They fall into that abyss and that's that. You see, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts. You fall into these foolish things. You start making foolish decisions. You start lusting over things which you know you shouldn't be, which drown men in destruction and perdition. The Most High kill you, man. You see? And reading the scripture, it can break down to you what is one of the biggest things that cause jakes these days. Verse 10, for the love of money is the root of all evil, which while some covet after, they have erred from the faith and passed themselves through with many sorrows. That same love of money right there caused many men to fall out of the truth. You see, that same love of money and women is what caused jakes the most. You see, but let's bring out a precept to prove that, right? Let's get the book of 1 John, chapter 2, and starting at verse 15, right? It reads, love not the world, neither the things that are in the world. If any man love the world, the love of the Most High is not in him. God. You see, y'all? In Timothy, it says, for the love of money is the root of all evil, and money is of this world, right? And First John is telling you, love not the world, meaning love not money. You see? Neither the things that are in the world. You see? Yeah, it's no problem wanting to have money, but don't let that deter you from this truth. Because when you start to do that, is when you start to stray away from the Most High. And what riches is more pure than the riches that the Most High have to offer? You see? Now it says, if any man love the world, the love of the Most High is not in him. God. You see here where it says in verse 6, where it says, godliness with contentment is great gain. And in verse 9 it says, but they that will be rich fall into temptation and a snare, and into many foolish and hurtful lusts. You see? But let's read verse 16. 1 John 2 and 16. For all that is in the world, the lust of the flesh and the lust of the eyes and the pride of life is not of the Father, but is of the world. Can. So that love of money, that ain't of the Most High. That's the love of the world. That's the love of the flesh. Verse 17. And the world passeth away, and the lust thereof. But he that doeth the will of Yahweh Bahashem Yahweh Shai abideth forever. Can. Now in that verse right there, it says, and the world passes away. The flesh and that money passes away. You see? You can't take that with you now. Right? And the lust thereof, meaning your love for that lust of that, passes away also with your flesh. Right? And what leaves after that? Just your spirit. Where it says, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. And to do the will of the Most High is to keep his commandments and teach his word and feed your spirit, because that's what you would have to present to him when you pass away, when your flesh pass away. See y'all in verse 7 in the book of Timothy 6 and 7, 1 Timothy, it says, for we brought nothing into this world, into this fleshly world, right? And it is certain we can carry nothing out. We can carry nothing fleshly out of this world either, because you didn't bring nothing with you. You see? But, let's go on to verse 17. And like it said in verse 17, and the world passeth away, and the lust thereof, but he that doeth the will of the Most High abideth forever. So, don't feed your flesh and neglect your spirit. You see? You should feed your spirit more than you feed your flesh. You see? Because it's that spiritual treasure that we seek. We want the riches that the flesh can't touch. You see? But let me bring out another precept here, right? And then we can get out here. This is the book of 1 Corinthians 13, right? Chapter 1. Slakia. 1 Corinthians chapter 13. Verse 1. Let's start at verse 1, right? It reads, though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels and have not charity, I am become a sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal, meaning you're loud, right? Verse 2. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. And charity is brotherly love, right? You can have all these things, like it reads here, faith and all these things, but if you don't have charity, you are nothing. Verse 3. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. See, but with that said, when you have to deal with the corrupt mindset of others, you have to bear that in mind. You see, you still have to bear that in mind. You know, but with that, I want to give all praises to the Most High Power, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakah, Kadash, Brakata Yahweh, Brakata Yahweh Shai. I hope you all edified, and continue to keep the faith, man. We almost ODR, you know. These things, prophecy is speaking loud and clear, man. I continue to praise the Most High spiritually, mentally, physically, and emotionally, Pray for that guidance and protection. Shalom. Kabawat.